In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
An extra spooky edition of the No Off Days podcast. Happy Halloween week, right?
From the haunted studio, yes.
So, we're going to have a candy-filled episode for you. And unfortunately at home, you're just going to have to, once again, watch us eat this candy. He is Chris Cato. We got BK in the booth, and I am Scott Smith. Do you have any Halloween traditions that you... I know last week we talked about you like to carve pumpkins and you kind of kick your son out of the way.
I don't let my son do it because I want the pro doing it.
Yes.
And again, I don't
I'm going to be judged on this by the neighbors.
Really. I don't do it until the day before Halloween or else it turns into a melted puddle of goop on your porch here in Florida.
Goop.
But yeah, we decorate the porch with these. It's the one time of year the rattiness of the exterior of my house actually
you've been saving up all these cobwebs
my squalor now works towards me. Yeah, but we do it. We do up the decorations. We do trick or treating.
Okay, you dressing up at all?
No, I'm not dressing up.
Okay.
I'll dress up as this broken down anchor man. How does that sound?
With a gallon of milk in your hand? Yes. Very good. Yeah. No, we just candy. Just load the kids up with candy. I mean, if it's the perfect holiday for children that just like they don't really care about the costume. At least when I was a kid, I didn't care about the costume. It was simply the tool by which I was going to get candy. I was going to extract candy from people that I never have to talk to again.
Exactly.
If I go a couple blocks away, I'm never going to see
all you had to
people.
do is say 3 words.
Yeah.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
Yeah.
I was told that in St. Louis, our co-anchor, Allie, she said that in St. Louis, you actually have to, answer a riddle? Or you have to do something like that?
They had another level of
in order to get it.
Maybe it's a math problem, something like that.
Oh, you had to earn your candy, which I kind of like, as the distributor now of candy. Back then, I would not have enjoyed that too much. Let's welcome in BK to the program, and let's see if he's wearing his Halloween costume. No,
yes,
he's not. No,
he's dressed as BK.
Did you guys have any Halloween traditions with the girls growing up? I imagine they're probably too old to be trick-or-treating now.
They're off in college now, and one's out of college. So, yeah, not really. I mean, just other than going out, every night. But there's no big... the thing with Halloween is that it's just a short window. So you put the decorations out. It's not like Christmas decorations where you got a whole month.
No.
You got a short runway here with these decorations.
Well, a whole month of Christmas. Now the stuff's already in stores. They want us to decorate right after we take down the Halloween decorations.
Right.
Well, the decoration business is, it's quite the grift.
It's a mafia.
And, I feel like the Halloween decorations have become like more and more out of control. Like it's like giant 15-foot skeletons and like just gruesome blood, like missing body parts. It's too much. I feel like it's. I'd prefer to go back to like the innocent jack-o'-lanterns and that kind of.
Let's carve some pumpkins.
Yeah.
Maybe put the fake tombstone in the front yard, but we don't need all those screaming goblins.
Well, there was a house that I used to drive by on my way into work, and it would every year they would have more and more they get up for Halloween.
More stuff.
And it's like Freddy Krueger and blood dripping down the windows, and it's like, okay. What are we doing here?
At least stick with a theme. You can't have Freddy
Krueger
and Jason.
You seem a little too into this.
They were never in the same movie together.
Absolutely.
Next thing you know, you've got the Santa Claus is out there getting his head chopped off by a guy with a chainsaw.
Well, the day after Halloween, I put my decorations up, my Christmas decorations up. So.
After Halloween?
The day after. I said, we're moving on, baby. We're moving on.
Okay.
We're getting ready. I love them. I like to sandwich, as we've mentioned. I like to sandwich my Thanksgiving and my Christmas all together, smush it up into one big gobbler sandwich and take a bite.
Yeah.
All right, so BK, what do we have on today's program?
On tonight's show, we got Gino Torretta, 1992 Heisman Trophy winner. Talk to him a little bit about what's going on down in Miami.
A lot.
Man, they are just rolling down there.
Fun. BK, should you or I bring up Gino's final college football game?
I told Scott this. I shot that game, his final college football game. His
You were on the
only
sideline.
college football loss.
For that huge Alabama upset.
Well,
That was a great
contractually, I believe Gino has said we're not allowed to mention
I wouldn't bring it up to him.
any Alabama reference. No.
He's a good guy. I wouldn't rub it in his face. But, man, that was an awesome game.
Sure was.
What year was that? 92? Was that
92?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Then at the end of the show, give you a little quiz. Well, since it's Halloween and since we got a little time here before it's over, give you a little quiz on the history of Halloween. See how well you know the timeline of certain events that occur around Halloween.
Okay. Probably not well.
Good.
Well,
I think this is your wheelhouse.
This
I
is
think
it. All Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
We go. If you look at the Gregorian calendar,
Of course.
All Saints Day is on the
Yes.
first. Yeah, I'm going to nail this.
Okay.
I'm ready to go.
You're very sequentially oriented. I am not. So, yeah. All right. Very good, BK. Catch up with you in a moment. If you are listening and you want to watch, go to fox13news.com/NODPOD. If you're watching and you want to listen or subscribe, you can take out your phone and zap the QR code on the screen, and it'll take you to our show page. You can find all of our shows. I believe this is 103. Please subscribe, fox13news.com/NODPOD. And again, if we get some great 5-star reviews, we may just read it. And maybe we'll even send you some candy, too.
We did mention a reviewer's name last week, Drew.
Yeah, Drew, he had a great 5-star review.
I don't know if he's still out there.
Yeah.
Hope he didn't give up on us.
Yeah, no, he was. He dipped in for one show.
They misread my review.
Oh, wait a minute. This show is actually not as good as I thought. That one show was really good, though. Okay, let's jump first into the NFL. Because we're kind of at a point now where I feel like there's teams that have been some fool's gold, and I think that there's teams that have started slow, and then they may come on strong. So this is going to be kind of an NFL boom or bust segment right here. And we'll go one from each. Give me a team that's going to boom. So a team that is currently below 500.
Okay.
All right? And that they will make the playoffs.
All right.
All right? And then give me a bust team, a team that's currently above 500 that will not make the playoffs. Would you like to go first?
I will. I'll take this one. A team. Let's go with the first. What did you say
Let's do
first?
a boom.
A team with
A boomer.
A boomer. Okay. This is a team with a losing record that's going to make the playoffs.
Correct. Exactly what I just said.
All right. Currently, I think it's going to be the Miami Dolphins.
Wow. Whoa. The 2-5 Miami Dolphins?
2-5 Miami Dolphins.
All because of Tua.
Yes, all because of Tua. I mean,
Really?
Tyreek said, "Strike up the bleepity bleep band. We're back together."
Yeah,
and
you
even
shouldn't
though
have
they
said that.
lost that game the other day, they got to shake the rust off. Right now, their odds on DraftKings of making the playoffs is plus 350. That's higher than a lot of other teams. Schedule's manageable. You got to play the Bills again, obviously, but it's a garbage division you're in. You can beat the Jets. You can beat the flailing Patriots. So I'm going to roll with the Dolphins sneaking into the playoffs.
All right. That would be fun to see. Maybe we get that offense finally cooking. Even though his first game back, they narrowly lost. Though I really, really want to see Jameis Winston lead this Browns team into the playoffs. There would be nothing. There would be no storyline that I would enjoy watching play out this season more than that.
That would be good.
Where Jameis just becomes this, rekindled star.
He's the new Joe Flacco.
We're going to get a lot more Eatin' W's. His Eat W's T-shirts will just sell like hotcakes.
Eminem quotes.
I mean, yes. Mom's spaghetti references. I would love nothing more than to see that. I'm afraid. I think that they're going to go on a nice little run here because they got like New Orleans. They got a couple games against Pittsburgh that is a decent team, but I think they could top them. Denver, winnable. I think that there's the closing stretch for them is going to be a little too much, and I think you got to get to 9 games. So the team I'm actually going to go with as my boomer is your LA Rams.
Yeah.
So and they're just narrowly below 500, so 3-4. So I'm cheating a little bit. But last week before their win, they were 2-4. So, but they get Cooper Kupp back, they got Puka Nacua back. So getting those two guys back from injury is certainly going to be big, and I think that their schedule down the stretch is actually pretty manageable. So you got a couple against Seattle. You got your Miami team that you think is going to be red hot. But they got New England, New Orleans. You got the Jets. So, man, I think that in this division, I think it's going to be tough for a team right now in the NFC, I believe, that's below 500 to really climb up there. But again, we buy the trajectory of a good coach, and I think that that's what Sean McVay is, and I think he still has some good pieces. If that defense can get even better, I'd look for the Rams to make a nice little second-half run.
And in that division, there is no team with a record above 500. They're all 4-4 or less.
Yeah.
So you landed on a good one there.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. How about a buster?
Let's go with a buster, a team that right now has a winning record but is not going to make the playoffs.
Not making it.
Number one candidate, and this is almost cheating too because they're
take my
barely
team.
above 500.
Okay.
Should I? The Chicago Bears.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
That's
but the
not fair.
the play calling is ridiculous. And also the Bears have the toughest schedule going forward.
Do they really?
Yeah, they've got the Ram, they got the Lion. I mean, look at their division.
They still have
They got
two
the
against
Lions
Lions
twice.
though. Yeah.
They've got the Vikings. They've got the
Okay.
Packers. I mean, there's really not much breathing room there, and it is clunky, the play calling. I do not understand handing the ball to an offensive lineman who's never had a carry before in his life on the 2-yard line.
Call, yeah.
That's the funny thing, is that Washington Hail Mary is going to be the loss that ends up keeping them from the playoffs.
Oh, that would be painful. I think, though, Caleb Williams is going to continue to get better. And so I don't know. I kind of sneaky like these Bears moving forward. I don't know if they're a playoff team because that division that they're in right now is so difficult. But I am going to stick in that division. That's right. The Sam Darnold pixie dust is going to wear off, okay? He started to look a little bit more average as of late. Those Vikings have lost now 2 in a row. But I think really it comes down to their defense. I think it's kind of been exposed a little bit. They've given up 30-plus points in the last 2 games. They've still got 2 against Chicago, a team that I think is actually going to get better. Arizona, they're no cakewalk. They got Detroit and Green Bay. I think they end the season against Detroit and Green Bay. So I think that this Sam Darnold team is going to start to come back down to earth a little bit more. We've started to see that in recent weeks, and so I got those Vikings being a bust.
This would be 2 years in a row where they've started out on complete fire and then fallen apart.
Yeah, so it's a status quo for them.
Actually,
Absolutely.
that's not a bad call there either.
And I can also see the Broncos kind of teetering. Although their defense is good, but I don't think that defense has really quite been tested. They're going to have much tougher teams. They got to play the
Chiefs a couple more times.
Yeah, they got the Chiefs twice, and Atlanta, Cincinnati, some teams that have the potential offensively.
I have one more buster somewhere.
Give me one.
You'll like
Yes.
The Atlanta Falcons.
You're gonna. I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
But their schedule, I think
know.
their schedule is pretty favorable.
I know, but I still don't like their defense.
Yeah, no, their defense is not very
think
good.
they're going to get in some situations where they get torched, and then they have a turnover. They won't have the turnover margin the Bucs gave them, and I could see them maybe falling apart down the stretch.
I could see that too. There's more. It's easier to pick, I think, the busts, the teams that will fall apart, than the teams that can turn it on. All right, so we're going to transition to this last week. Very difficult news coming down out of USF, the passing of head men's basketball coach Amir Abdul-Rahim. I mean, this guy, what he did in such a short window of time at USF was incredible, and that's just on the basketball court. But we had an opportunity to have him on our program. I think it was back in February. And, that was really my first opportunity to actually have a conversation with him and sit down in kind of a longer format discussion. And it was just, this guy was just such a breath of fresh air. The way he talked about his passion for the players as young men and the job he felt like he had to do, not just in teaching basketball, but teaching life to these kids. And they loved him. I mean, it's a heartbreaking situation to have to deal with, to have to think through, and what his family's going through. I can't even imagine. He comes from one of 13. Sharif Abdul-Rahim, his brother, played for more than a decade in the NBA, but leaves behind a young family and a wife, and it's heartbreaking news that we had to experience this last week, and that they're dealing with in real life. So I'd like to take a moment to kind of go back to that conversation that we had with him back in February. Here's a portion of our conversation with USF men's basketball coach Amir Abdul-Rahim.
I always start things out. Because again, man, we're so blessed to be playing this game. So to God be the glory. But my strength coach, I think I got the best strength coach in the country, man. Because this guy is not only great at his job, but man, he does an unbelievable job of keeping me focused on the things that we need to focus on. And he gave me a scripture the other day, Proverbs 27:21, and it says, fire tests the purity of silver and gold. Praise tests the soul of a man, I believe. And so when the rankings came out, we weren't in them. It was great because, at 21, 22 years old, man, you see a number next to your school's name or your team's name, and automatically, not that automatically you get complacent, but there's a window to get comfortable, which leads to complacency. So you're always trying to find that motivation, that chip on your shoulder to kind of keep things moving forward. And for this group to have accomplished what they've accomplished so far and still kind of be overlooked and undervalued, cool. Let's go continue to prove them all wrong.
You were talking about earlier about showing your players how to be people of integrity, right? And the fact that someone's always watching. So you did something with a clip of your little daughter Lana playing on the Little Tykes basketball hoop that we all have.
Yeah.
You used that recently. How'd you use that with your players?
I was sitting at home one night, and my son and I, he's always, Daddy, let's play basketball. And the girls will come jump in. My daughters will come jump in. Well, one night we're sitting there, and Lana, she goes, Daddy, who am I? And she does this little routine, and I look, and I'm recording it, and I'm like, did she just emulate Case and Pryor? What is going on? So at the end of our film session, I told him, I said, I put a slide up. It says, never forget the platform you have. Never forget little eyes are watching. And I played that video. And man, they were in stitches. They laughed so hard. But it's a great reminder to them to, when you go out on the court, how you carry yourself. We say it all the time. It's not what happens, it's how you respond that will tell us who we are.
I think a lot of folks have come out and said very complimentary words about Amir, but I think that authentic is one that really stands out. You could tell in the conversation that we had, just a genuine guy, and no pretense. He was really just about pouring into the young men that he felt like he was responsible. Like, I'm going to teach you about life, basketball as well, but it's really about life and the skills that you're going to take with you forever.
It's just so unfair when you think about his family, his 3 young children, his wife, and he was 43. And so when I heard about his passing, I thought of our conversation with him here, and I thought that I regret I never got a chance to meet him in person, because as much as he came through the screen during that interview, that's one of those people that you could tell he was bound for great things, and greatness on the court, but greatness off the court too. It's a tremendous loss. You mourn with South Florida, and it's incredible when you see the outpouring of love right now in that university family. To think that he was only there for 19 months and left that kind of profound impact on that university in 19 short months.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of the kind of man that he was. All right, on that, we will take a break, and we will have more NODPOD on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. I'll use this moment to remind you, Chris, and all our listeners at the beginning of the season, long before we had even had a single snap of college football, I did make a prediction that the 12-team playoff would feature one Miami Hurricanes team.
I recall that. Yes.
Okay, do you recall? Have I reminded you?
Are you spiking the football here at 8 weeks into the season?
Saying,
wow.
Things are looking good down in Miami right now, and I think our guest is going to give us an even better insight as to what is going on with the Miami Hurricanes. We bring in a legendary Cane, Heisman winner, 2-time national champ, Gino Torretta on the NODPOD. Gino, thanks for joining us. So what's in the water right now in Miami? Why is it working? We've been long awaiting the arrival, the return of the Miami football program, and this year everything just seems to be going lockstep.
I don't know. Since you're breaking your arm, patting yourself on the back, why don't you tell me what's going on down here?
Man.
Listen, I think it's been Cristobal's had 2 of the best recruiting classes that we've ever had, and I think they hit on a quarterback. I mean, when I saw Cam this spring, saw him throw, he can spin it, and tell people, and they're like, "Wow, this is the most positive you've been in 20 years." And I'm like, that kid can throw the ball, and I go, he's proven that he can start. He started 4 years, 2 at Washington State, 2 in an Incarnate Word, and he's got experience, game time experience, and now he's got some weapons around him. And let's be honest, their schedule was set up for this. I mean, they haven't even played a ranked team yet, and probably won't until they get to the conference championship game.
Which is pretty wild considering it. And Gino, while Scott thinks this team is perfect, I would say that if there's an area of this team that gives me pause as we hit the, turn into the final 1/3 of the season here, and as you build toward the playoffs, the defense has had some issues. Miami has escaped some, had some fortuitous calls from the officials, perhaps, has escaped some close calls. What's not working with this defense right now? Why isn't it where, I guess, we expected it to be?
Well, listen, I think that, come off last year, I think when people think and see Miami's success, you think of the teams that I played on that gave up like 8 or 9 points a game. Dorsey's team with, I don't even know what they had, 10 first and second round picks, whatever, on the defense. Our defenses were always dominant on our successful teams. This team is undefeated, and like you said, I mean, a questionable call by the officials at the end of the Virginia Tech game could have gone either way. Kind of surprised it was overturned, because most of the time they don't like overturning calls like that. Cal, you needed 4 touchdowns in the second half, basically to come back from, what was it, 38-10, to come back from that deficit, and they have needed Cam Ward to perform like a Heisman front runner that he has, to be in the situation that they are. I think that the reason that we've had probably some issues defensively is Coach Guidry, he loves pressure and he loves blitz. We lost 4 of 5 guys in the secondary starters last year. You got some young guys out back there. When you blitz, you put them in man coverage. They get knocked off of coverage. They either misread a route, or they get picked or rubbed, as they say legally. It's a rub route. For everybody else, it's a pick play, and they've had some glaring weaknesses there without defensive line pressure. Now that Bain's been back, he's came back against Cal a little bit, but he's full go now. You got him and Barrow, and now the defensive line can pressure with 4 guys. So I think the defense will start playing better, but that, no question, Cam's needed all of his touchdowns and all of his yards for them to be undefeated so far.
Yeah. We've talked so much this year about how the portal kind of giveth and the portal taketh, and we've seen friends right up the road in Tallahassee, as much as they leaned on the portal in the offseason, you're not getting a team that meshes. And for all the preseason prognostication on that team, and I'll be happy to not pat myself on the back when I thought FSU would be a lot better, as did many, and it's not coming together. The talent is not quite there, as I believe Nick Saban said, they're in the portal for a reason. Yet, for Miami, all these portal pieces have meshed. How much does that speak to just the ability for the coaching staff to have a culture buy-in immediately? Or is it just simply, hey, they read the talent on the when they were recruiting these guys, and they knew immediately, hey, they would be great fits? Or is it part of getting them in the system and having a quick culture be kind of bought into?
Well, I think Saban's right. When you pay the wrong guys, it's not going to work out. I mean, look at the National Football League. I mean, the Dolphins are kind of struggling right now, and their salary and the payroll is pretty high in the National Football League. So, and it's, just is what it is. If you're paying the wrong guys, or the wrong guys aren't having great seasons, you're going to struggle like that. I think Florida State's struggles have been, the one thing that surprised me is they had, so I broadcasted the game in Ireland, and I did the Florida State game, and they had 73 players back from an ACC championship team last season, which had gone 2 in a row, won the conference. To have that many players back, and then to bring in some portal players, but they missed at QB. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, DJ Uyunglele, he was not a good fit. He was not successful right from jump. Put their defense in probably some interesting situations, and Jordan Travis was a stud, and they lost some key pieces. I mean, Cam Ward and DJ were on the campus the same day in Tallahassee. Like between 1 and 2 days, Cam said, "I'm going pro." Florida State got nervous and said we had to sign somebody, so they signed DJ through the transfer portal. But that shows, like, if you miss, I mean, heck, we've all gone through. If you miss with the first pick of the NFL draft and you pay that guy a lot of money, you're going to struggle. And I think that's, the crazy thing to me in today's, with this NIL and the transfer portal, is, man, you can microwave a team hot in a year, but boy, to go from where they were a season ago to the opposite end of the spectrum is just crazy to me. And it just shows that you have to re-recruit your own players every single year now, and you better keep the right guys. You better pay the right guys.
Staying in state here, Gino, with another program that has had struggles but appears to be figuring some things out. Do you think Billy Napier at Florida has done enough at this point to save his job for another season?
They have gotten better, but again, Mertz started playing better, and then he gets hurt. Lagway comes in. He's just young. I mean, he's a freshman. So as he's gotten more comfortable, the thing in the Southeastern Conference, there isn't no time to get comfortable.
Right.
you don't have a week off. And it used to be, hey, we're playing Vandy, it's a week off. Well, now Vandy is beating half the teams in the conference, including Alabama. So I think that they've bounced back. I think it's pretty impressive how they've kind of bounced back, because I thought, man, early I was like, this could get ugly. He could get guys to just kind of mail it in, and I don't know if it's happening at Florida State, but it sure seems that way based on the performance or lack thereof in Tallahassee. I mean, the Duke game, I sat there and watched the game. I'm like, how does a defense give up 180 yards and they lost? I mean, that's when you don't have a good locker room. I mean, the defense is obviously very upset at the offense because they couldn't produce anything. And for a defense to hold a team under 200 yards in today's environment, where they just kind of handcuff these defenses to not play physical, and still lost the game, is just, man, things are just not going right in Tallahassee. But I've been impressed with what Napier's done, this season as they bounce back.
Last Heisman winner out of Miami was, of course, you, Gino, back in 1992. Does it, having surveyed kind of the landscape of the Heisman frontrunners, do you think Cam Ward is in the driver's seat?
I think he's one of. I think this. I think that this is probably when people start paying attention to the games, and it's also the time when you want to be playing those games against top-ranked opponents. You want to be playing, in the primetime matchup against the top-ranked team in your conference. And, you go back to when I won it 30-some years ago. I mean, I hit a stretch where we played Arizona, was a top 10 defense to start a Desert Swarm. We played Penn State on the road, and we played Florida State, which ended up being wide right too, all in a row and all top 10. And that string of games basically kind of vaulted me and differentiated me from the rest of the pack. I think that Cam has put himself at the forefront. My question is he may get dinged because of the schedule or lack of strength of schedule that Miami has, going the rest of the season. But if he continues throwing for 300 plus like he's done, he didn't do it last week against Florida State, but if he continues to do that and then gets in a great game in the ACC championship game, if Clemson stays with one loss and has another great performance, he may need that big performance at the end of the year because of their schedule strength. But there's some guys out there. I mean, Travis out and Hunter out in Colorado, kids playing 100 snaps a game. If he can stay healthy, he gets banged up a little bit, but it seems like he's the best defensive back and wide receiver on the same team. Gabriel's got, monster stats at Oregon, and they're undefeated too, but they have some monster games. I mean, they got to go to Wisconsin. They got to play Washington at the end of the year. So they have some big games. I think that, Cam's at the forefront now, but I know if I was in that race, I'd want, somebody was top 5 on my schedule that I could go out and there would be a ton of eyeballs on that performance to kind of put me over the top and keep me at the top.
we might see some separation as soon as this weekend. We have our pick segment coming up on the other side. Gino's going to stick around with us, and we'll even dive into this Duke-Miami revenge game coming up this weekend. We are back with Gino Torretta on the NODPOD right after this. We are back on the No Off Days podcast. It's time to do some picks. Our guest this week, Gino Torretta, legendary Canes quarterback, joins us from the Orange Bowl. And here we go. We got some big ones coming up this weekend. Saturday noon kickoff. Number 4 Ohio State is a 3.5-point favorite as they headed to Happy Valley to take on the undefeated Penn State Nittany Lions. They are ranked 3rd in the nation right now. How do you see this one going down, Gino?
Well, I think this is tough for us to make this pick since Drew Aller, the quarterback at Penn State's a game time decision. So I'd probably stay away from it if I was actually venturing to put some of my own money on this. Listen, Ohio State left tackle's got issues. He's injured. Penn State's got 2 studs on the outside that can rush the quarterback. Ryan Day's 2-7 against top 5 teams. I'm gonna take Penn State at home.
I like that point you made there, Gino, about the Nittany Lions pass rush is for real. I'm going to roll with the Buckeyes here to what does James Franklin do? He doesn't win the big games. So you got Ryan Day's record in big games, but this is like 2 opposing forces, right? So I'm going to go with the Buckeyes in this one.
Okay, you got them covering the 3.5. OSU survived that scare last week against Nebraska. That a home game. Buckeyes O-line a little bit beaten up. That's a concern. You guys mentioned the Penn State front and their ability to get after it. I'd prefer a night tilt. That would make me feel even more at ease with this pick, but I'm still going to go an upset in Happy Valley. I got the Nittany Lions in the points. Maybe even snapping that 7-game losing streak against Ohio State. All right, in the ACC, Duke paying a visit to number 6 Miami, and Miami comes in 20.5-point favorites for this noon kickoff. Gino, you got your Canes this week?
Personnel, we have obviously the advantage. The only thing that I'm really hesitant on laying the points and taking Miami is I thought they were very conservative in their play calling against Florida State. They went right down the field throwing the ball, and then we tried to control the line of scrimmage by handing off the ball over and over again, which is fine because we got some great backs, Martinez and Fletcher. But you win the Heisman by throwing it. That's what my receivers used to tell me. Don't hand off the ball. Just let's audible and pass. So it concerns me at 20.5, but I think our personnel gap is enough to cover it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's too many points. I think that, Miami, if you look at, I'm not going to give them credit for beating up on Florida State, who I don't even know if had any interest in playing the game, which is amazing to say when it's a rivalry game. But I'm just looking at the last few games before that. It's always a fight. It's always a fight. And Duke has enough on defense to muddy it up. They turned over SMU 6 times last week.
Yeah.
And should have won in overtime and didn't. So I think 20.5 is too many. Give me the Blue Devils and the points there.
Yeah, the return of former Canes coach Manny Diaz. They've got a feisty team there at Duke. But you mentioned, the fact that they lost a game where they lost the turnover margin 6-0.
6-0.
Where they won the turnover margin 6-0. That is, I don't know. I just think the Canes can lay on the gas here this week. I got repayment after Duke beaten Miami last year, so I got the Canes to win by more than 3 touchdowns on Saturday afternoon. All right, we got it's the cocktail party. Florida taking on Georgia, number 2 in Jacksonville. 3:30 kick. The Dogs 16.5-point favorites coming into this one. Like they got the confidence back, Gino, last week.
I did their first game against Clemson, and I was like, wow, this team's just going to roll through the schedule again. Then a few weeks later, I did them against Kentucky, and they got owned at the line of scrimmage and really should have been beat. A fumble by the Kentucky quarterback gave Georgia points, and those points ended up being the difference in the game. So they've kind of been opposite ends of the spectrum. Their defense is now 100% healthy, they seem to be, and they seem to be rolling a little bit. I want to give Florida, because they have been playing better, that they're going to cover, but I think this is where Kirby steps on the gas and really just says, okay, we're still the kings of the SEC.
sense.
I'm taking some wild swings here this week, fellas.
Oh,
Maybe
are you?
it's all the Halloween candy I've been eating all week, but the sugar's talking to me, Gino. But look, there's something missing with this Georgia offense. I do believe that Florida has something cooking, and this is a rivalry game where it still matters to a lot of people on that field. I think 16.5 is too many. You look at margins of victory with common opponents in Kentucky and Mississippi State, and Florida won by more against both of those opponents than Georgia did. So I'm going to take the Gators to cover that spread.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Dogs looked like they unlocked something against Texas, and that looked like the team that we thought was going to be at the beginning of the year. But, maybe a little emotional letdown after this one against a Florida team that they know they ought to run up and down the field against. DJ Lagway, still young. He's shown a lot of promise. Could this be kind of his arrival party to the SEC? There'd be no better platform to do it against. I think they make it close, and I'm going to take the Gators to keep it under 16.5. All right, finally in college football, number 10 Texas A&M, 2.5-point favorites on the road, taking on South Carolina. This one's under the lights, 7:30, Gino.
One of the loudest places in the Southeastern Conference to play is South Carolina, and they have been oh so close this season in a lot of games. And I'm taking them. I think Texas A&M, they're reading too many of their press clippings. I can't believe they're ranked 10, but they stumbled early, and they've been kind of churning out the wins. But I'm going to take South Carolina at home in the upset.
Situational awareness, Scott. That's why Gino won the Heisman.
Yes, he did.
He looks at the big picture. We saw Texas A&M just have that huge second half against LSU. Getting that big win there. South Carolina is kind of laying in the weeds. They had a bye. They've been playing a lot better. And their defensive ends, Grenard, and forgive me for forgetting the other guy, but just they're a handful. So whether it's Connor Wegman or whether it's Marcel Reed, I think the Gamecocks could make it a long day for them, and I'm going to take South Carolina to pull off the upset there.
Yeah, though Elko's defenses have historically gotten kind of better throughout the course of the season, I think it really comes down to your point, the pass rush that they might be able to dial up against Wegman and make him a little bit too uncomfortable there. The fact that Vegas has got this at 2.5 makes me think that they're kind of hedging a little bit. I'm going to go with the money, and so I'm going to say Gamecocks pull off the upset at home. All right, we got one in the NFL. It's our hometown Bucs taking on the Chiefs, a Monday night tilt from Arrowhead. Let's see, we 8.5-point favorites for those Chiefs. Who you got, Gino?
Well, usually Sundays I'm traveling home, so I don't get a lot to watch the NFL. I think I heard did Mike Evans get hurt? Is he hurt for the Bucs?
Yes, he's done for the next month.
He's done for the next month. I believe the Chiefs still have some guy named Mahomes, number 15, and Kelsey, one of the best tight ends in the game. 8.5 is a huge number in the league, but I'll take the Chiefs at home. Again, noise factor in Arrowhead, I don't know if you guys have ever been there. It is by far best place in the NFL to play. Home field advantage is tremendous. And I think the Chiefs will roll.
Yeah.
He may have did he just change my mind?
Did he?
Obviously, the Buccaneers dealing with injuries. If we wanted to say the Bucs are tested on the road, we could go way back to that game at Detroit when they pulled off a win. But it was you had Chris Godwin then. You had Mike Evans. But all that being said, I liked what I saw with the Bucs offense against the Falcons. They just turned the ball over one time too many, maybe two times too many.
3 times too many, actually.
3 times too many. Yeah, but you're allowed 1. You can't have 3. So I'm going to take the Bucs to stay within that number there. The Chiefs win, but not by 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, when the Bucs are rolling offensively, we see what they're capable of. They can move the ball up and down the field. Problem is, it's just week in and week out, it's like these self-inflicted wounds. There's just like these awful quarters. There's consecutive drives that end in picks. Baker's got to clean some of that stuff up, and the Bucs are at their best when they have balance. I don't think they're going to be able to strike that run balance with this KC run defense. So, unfortunately, I got to go Bucs falling in this one. I think the Chiefs beat them by double digits on Monday night. All right, there you go. Those are our picks for all the candy, for all the Kit Kat bars you can muster up. Gino, we thank you so much for spending some time with us. Check it out, touchdownradio.com, and we'll see if that Heisman gets polished off and ends up down there in Coral Gables by the end of the season.
You can't wait to find out. College football season goes by too fast, Gino. Slow it down. Put the brakes on.
It takes too long to get here, and then it's over in the blink of an eye. There's no question. It would be nice to have Cam as a new member member of the fraternity and bring another trophy in the Heck Center down there. That'd be awesome.
That would be something. He is Gino Torretta. Thank you so much. All right, coming up on the NODPOD, speaking of candy, we have some trick-or-treaters in studio.
We do?
And they would like to show us their
what happened to our security system around here?
They're sneaking in.
I said no trick-or-treating.
Yeah, they're sneaking in. They want some candy. We're going to grade their outfits. Let's see how well they suited up. That's next on the NODPOD. Welcome back to the No Off Days podcast. All right, we have Candy. Candy has emerged. It is on set
Can
with
I
us,
start?
but you
Can I
have
get
to
in
hold
there?
off. There will be a time and a place for that. But first, let's bring in BK. Brian, we have a bunch of candy. Is there anything you would like us to hold for you? Because I have a feeling it's going to go fast.
Nah, it's good. Y'all have at it, friends.
Okay.
What was your favorite
He's
again?
like, do you have any boiled chicken breasts?
Yeah.
That's what he likes. Yes.
Do you have any Bitto honey?
Yeah.
All right, so you've dialed up a game that I believe Chris is already
I'm Googling
has a
away.
sizable advantage in. So this is a sequential game.
Fairly simple. I'll just give you two events, two things, and you tell me whichever one happened first. Okay? It's
Okay.
pretty simple. You
Very
ready?
good. Yes.
Okay, we'll start. Which happened first? The invention of Reese's Cups or the invention of candy corn?
I think this one's easy. I mean, candy corn it was invented during a time when there was really nothing else to choose from. Candy corn would never have become a thing if people knew that peanut butter and chocolate went together as beautifully as those peanut butter cups do. So I'm going to say candy corn was first.
Yeah, I think Scott makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
You know, candy corn I think was used as spackle in one of the forts. Was it the Alamo? I think candy. That's why it was invented. It held the Alamo together. Yeah, I'm going to say candy corn happened first.
Exactly right. Candy corn happened in the 1800s. Reese's Cup invented in 1928.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
They had horrible teeth back then, and that's a big reason why.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the candy corn. They would actually replace their, you know how like George Washington had wooden teeth?
Yes.
Some of them actually had candy corn teeth.
The first
they would
hockey-
just stick it in there if they lost a molar.
The first hockey players
Suitable.
wore those as teeth.
How about this now? Which movie came out first? Friday the 13th or Halloween?
Well, Halloween had Jamie Lee Curtis in it, right? And so
I believe.
was she not? Was she not in
Yes,
Halloween?
okay.
I
Her
believe.
and Michael Myers hanging out.
I think, Michael Myers, who wasn't he? That's
Mike
Austin
Myers.
Powers,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
same guy.
Okay, I'm gonna say Halloween. I don't even think I've seen Halloween, but Friday the 13th I've seen. I think I saw it. That's Freddy Krueger, right?
Oh my gosh. No.
No, that's Jason.
Jason
The
Voorhees.
ski mask guy. Yeah.
Hockey mask.
Yeah, hockey. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people driving around in Tampa with a hockey mask on their passenger seat, and it scares the scares the
His
dickens
name's
out of me.
Andrei Vasilevsky.
Yes. I'm gonna say Halloween came out first.
Okay, he's going with Halloween, even though he knew nothing about either of those movies.
Yeah, no, it's stab in the dark.
Two seminal movies from my childhood here. My parents let
Really?
me watch them on
Explains a
repeat
lot.
at way too early of an age.
I can't believe Cookie would do
And I'm
that.
still very warped. My thoughts on chainsaws are very dark. I'm going to go just by a year, I'm going to say Halloween.
Friday the 13th came out in 1980. Halloween came out in 1978. Good job.
Got it.
Okay, how about this one? This will be easy. Which of these events that happened on Halloween happened first? Nick Saban's birthday or Larry Mullen Jr., the drummer from U2's birthday? The drummer for U2.
I mean, so who's older, basically, right?
That's
the
the question I think he's getting at.
Yeah. Wait, so is Nick Saban's birthday on Halloween?
Isn't that
Yes.
appropriate? Nick
How about
Saban.
that?
Yeah.
Nick Saban just seems like he would be older, and for that reason, I'm going to say the drummer is older. So I'm going to go U2 drummer, older.
Yes. Larry Mullen, the father of Ron Mullen, who I believe is our audio
Oh,
operator.
get outta here.
Is that true?
Wow.
Do we have Ron on the faders tonight?
Yeah, he does. He does have good rhythm.
So Saban is about to turn Brian 72. Is that correct?
Saban's about to turn
72 or
Oh,
73.
then there's no way. This drummer can't be more than 72 years old.
Yeah.
72.
And when and U2 started doing their thing, or I guess they got big, commercially successful.
They've
in
always
the
been
early,
known to their
early
drummers
80s.
been old. Yeah, they've always had a really old.
Yeah.
drummer.
I'm going to say it's Lord Saban is the oldest of this pairing here.
Obvious, he is. He was born in 1951. Larry Mullen Jr. in 1961.
Okay.
How about that?
I was way off.
I had
no
an
idea.
advantage
I have no
because
idea
I've
who
memorized
Larry
all the
Mullen is.
Saban birthdays.
Yeah, you did.
How about one more?
Yeah, I think we have time for
Can
one
we
more.
eat this candy? I gotta eat this candy.
Which one of these things was longer? The career of Javon Curse or the career of Frank Gore?
Oh, I think it's Gore, right? I mean, I feel like Gore had the
Both Florida
longest
guys?
career. I think he's still running.
He's still
Is
playing.
he still with the team?
Yes. He's
Yeah.
with the Birmingham Stallions.
And just because it's Halloween, I think Gore is what you're going for, and so I'm going to go Frank Gore.
This is
Curse.
how smart Brian is because he gave us Curse and Gore.
Oh!
See there? All right, yeah, I think it's Gore. I can't remember anyone playing longer than him.
It is Frank Gore, 15 years. Javon Curse only played for 10.
Well done on the names there, buddy.
good.
What
Yeah,
others did
that's
you come
nice.
across? What other potential scary NFL player names?
Not NFL players. Had Boo Weekley. You had
Dick Buttkiss.
there's some others. There's a ton of others, but I just
Yeah, Mean Joe
Monsters-
Green.
The Monsters of the Midway.
Yeah.
Very good.
That was good, BK. I think I won
I think
scoring at home.
Thank you, BK.
Good job, guys.
All right, I cannot hold back anymore. We have to get into the candy. I've been drooling all segment now that we have. All right, so we have a variety of candies in our Big Noon Kickoff.
Thank you, by the
candy
way,
bowl.
for running to Walgreens.
Absolutely. So out of the ones we have here, do you have any particular favorites?
Yeah, I do. Peanut butter and chocolate for me. So Reese's.
Okay.
Although I do fear.
Well, the cups are, yeah.
I wanted you to get the pumpkins, like the big
Oh, I'm
pumpkins.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
these you have to work a little too hard with the wrapper, but I'll still accept it and thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with the Kit Kat. I feel like a Kit Kat is easy. I don't have to take it out of the cup, though I do appreciate the flavors of a Reese's peanut butter cup. I just like the ease of a Kit Kat. So
Have you ever eaten the full-size Kit Kat by just biting into the whole bar? You didn't break apart the sticks?
Never. Not once in my life.
Good.
No.
You're not a psychopath then. Yeah.
Do people do that? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've been told that since we have candy, and who tends to come around when there's candy?
Children.
Children, trick-or-treaters. These are older children. They're our children. Yes, not biologically, but here at the station. So I believe we have some trick-or-treaters in studio with us today.
Okay.
And I don't even know who's coming out from behind the
What
door.
is this?
Okay, it's Becca. Becca and Caitlin.
Becca and
so
Caitlin.
Becca's one of our producers, and Caitlin. Oh, and Haley.
Oh, I love everything about all of this.
This needs to be explained a little bit. I see Becca's wearing a Bama shirt, and she has a sloth and a gator. And they have some type of cardboard contraption with cups on it that says NODPOD. And then Caitlin has chickens. I can see where this is going. You're dressed up like us.
Yeah.
We are.
Wow.
You have my chickens. That
Welcome
Pepper
on.
looked like that, and that's got to be Marge, because Mabel would never let you hold her.
All I have to say is, welcome on into the No Off Days podcast.
Okay, and she nailed it too.
Oh, you guys are hosting a podcast
That's why.
right
Yeah, that's why I have the desk that says NODPOD on
Yeah,
it.
these are our microphones. Can't you tell?
I'm Chris Cato. This is Scott Smith.
Yeah.
You can tell she's me because she's holding a sloth, my favorite
Yeah.
animal,
Yep.
and a gator for only in Florida.
Yep.
And did you spend money on an Alabama shirt?
I did. I'm going to have to throw it away.
I will
Don't
reimburse
worry,
you.
the tags are still on.
I will reimburse
But you're going to
you.
want to keep that Oregon shirt, because
am?
that's going to be worth more at the end of the season for
All
sure.
right, we'll find out.
That is
Can
incredible.
you guys do like an impersonation of us?
Are you ready?
Do you?
I'm
Can we
not
do
ready.
it?
Dad jokes.
Dad
Yeah.
jokes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dad jokes.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Boo.
Boo hoo.
Don't cry. It's okay.
Aww.
There we go. That sounds about right. Yeah.
That's about the comedy
Chris
we
just
deliver
he's
every
going to
week.
now adopt that. And then Haley, you are obviously you're a walking cake bracket.
I am the Great Cake Bracket of 2024.
This is brilliant.
Updated, obviously, to my preference.
She
the
put
winner.
Wait a
Funfetti
minute.
as the
Oh,
winner.
Funfetti won it.
I'm sorry.
So-
is that funfetti?
That is.
It is. What do you
That
think?
bracket is
I
fantastic.
don't think I like funfetti.
Doing you.
What? Who doesn't like funfetti?
I don't
Oh, no.
think. I think it's a birthday, a kid's birthday.
What?
It's your birthday.
Ah! Yes! We got to live it again.
Oh, this has been wonderful. This has been wonderful. Caitlin just took a funfetti cake right to the dome. Haley did it again.
I will say that Caitlin took it better than you did, too.
Yeah, she did.
She's laughing
I
about
promise
it.
not to.
At least it didn't go up my nose this time.
Yeah,
I
you.
practice.
This is incredible.
Well, she had the practice round with me.
Yeah.
How does it taste?
It really does taste like confetti.
Oh, this is wonderful.
I know.
It tastes
It's
like
the
a
best cake.
Haley, I'm glad your aim has improved. I'm glad that I was
I have
the test
practiced.
dummy
You
on
don't know how much time I've spent.
Oh,
You
this is
guys
beautiful.
put way too much work in all this.
I love
it's,
it.
it's wonderful. I mean, that is incredible.
We
It's
came
a
up with
labor
it
of
in
love.
15 minutes, actually.
mean,
Yeah.
That's all you needed.
Look, if we have to pick a winner here, I mean, I know Haley now has no more cake, so no more ammo, right?
I don't know.
Yes, you know.
because
Wouldn't I have the ammo
Caitlin wore the cake, and I'm partial to me, I think we
Yes.
need to give her choice of our candy bowl.
Okay,
I
but I
wholeheartedly
actually, is your favorite more important than my favorite? Because, I mean, Becca has a sloth and an Alabama shirt on.
She took a cake to the dome, man.
Yeah, but my guess is this was Becca's idea.
No, this was mine.
It was actually
Really?
Caitlin.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I wanted to
100%.
experience. I
think
wanted to fully
Mariah
immerse
cast,
myself in this
cast
costume.
the deciding vote. Who wins?
Yes.
Okay.
Ready all the way.
Haley wins?
Thank
Haley
you.
wins.
I knew I could count on you.
Okay, fine. We'll do that.
Funfetti
Here we go.
wins.
All right, I'm walking over with the cake.
Whoa.
no.
Candy.
We lost some.
All right. I'm hoping for $100 grand. Do you have any of that?
We don't have any 100
But there's
grand.
payday.
What?
There's
Oh,
no
there's
more
payday.
hidden cake.
There is a payday in there.
Oh, is there? No. All right. I'm just going to take a
I mean,
Mr.
Can't go
Goodbar.
wrong with
I
that.
don't
Yeah.
know how you avoided the
Oh,
obvious
boy.
choice.
Don't get the eggs
I
during.
think I know what I'm going for.
This is what we're
Take the full size.
Here we go.
You guys are generous.
Bonus for you.
That's very sweet.
This is
That's very sweet.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. Happy Halloween, everybody. Enjoy plenty of empty calories. And there we go. And we're going to have to get you cleaned up.
Yeah.
Kudos to Haley, Caitlin, and Becca,
Yeah.
our
We're always
trick-or-treaters.
happy.
That was so awesome.
Until the next time we are on, there are no off days.
It's like watching our live flash before our eyes.
Yeah, there's a little bit of cake. You want some?